Hello, everybody, and welcome to Commander Fridays, where every week we break down a new commander and talk about some exciting new mechanics here on Magic Redefined. I am super excited to do this commander, but before we start, I just want to say if you guys want us to do any specific type of format, you want us to do any other different commanders, let me know in the comments. I'll be glad to do it. We can even talk about your specific deck. So, without further ado, we are trying a live session here on YouTube and Twitch. So that way you guys can engage with us for Commander Fridays. If you'd rather me do the upload so you can see the cards better, let me know in the comments what format you guys like better so I can do better for you. Now let's talk about today's commander. Otrimi the Ever Playful. I'm probably saying that wrong. It's okay. Anyway, this deck, as you may have guessed from Otrimi's mechanic, is Mutate. Not Mewtwo. That's Pokemon. But Mutate. Meaning, really brief example, if I take a card, I have its creature spell cost, and then I have its Mutate cost. So I have the option to either play this as a creature by paying for the top, or I can play this on top or below a non-human creature spell for its Mutate cost, which varies depending on the creature. Now, if it goes on top, it is that power and toughness and everything from the top card. So it is still a legendary creature, Nightmare Beast, 6/6. If I put it on the bottom, it's the top creature, plus it will have its underlying thing. So it'll have its trample, and it will have this Mutate ability on the bottom here. So important to note, when you're building a deck like this, you should have creatures that are really like strong and powerful. But on the flip side, you should also have creatures that might be really weak, but have things like flying, hexproof, indestructible, reach. Those certain mechanics will help you because they'll be your bottom cards. So you have your bottom cards with the ones that have your static abilities, and then you have your top ones, which will be your really strong creatures. That way you get the best of both worlds. Something to think about when you're building an Otrimi the Ever Playful deck. Now, let's break down this commander. Let's get the deck list up on in here. And here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we go. Breakdown. We are going to start, guys, all the way over here and talk about this horrific mana curve. Yes, horrific. Look, we are sitting in 3 to 4 range. Not that good. It's something to think about when you're building this deck. Hey, it's really expensive. Okay, that means a couple things. One, you're not playing this deck in a one-on-one. You're playing multiplayer. 2, lots of mana rocks, which is something I need to work on with this deck. And then 3, don't expect to play anything in the beginning of the game. So slow your opponent down, maintain control. You have some kind of control mechanic on top of strong creatures. You want to blend of both. Otherwise, you're going to get destroyed. And when you mutate, don't forget that it's one creature. So if you're playing against someone who has elves or dwarves and they have a horde of whatever, you're going to get creamed unless you maintain control. Playing things that help wipe the board out for you so you can have the one and only creature. Just keep that in mind when you're building this deck. All right. So there's our mana curve. Here's a little breakdown. We do have a lot of creatures, obviously, but we're going to talk about from worst to best. Start right over with, you guessed it, enchantments. Enchantments, pretty simply put, you have things, as you have a 3-color deck that help you play things quicker because you need to get your swamps, islands, and forests. So make sure you have your colors right. Looking Predators, getting creatures out for cheap or free is imperative in this deck. So you have a lot of cards that let you play creature spells from Europe at the top of your deck and little deck down for free. Looking Predators is an absolute must. Primal Empathy, draw mechanics. You need draw mechanics because you need to maintain control. So you need to make sure you're drawing your controlled cards. So just think that in mind, and you have some kind of draw mechanic in you. You'll probably have the strongest creature always. So that's why I like Primal Empathy. Propaganda. What did I say? Control. Give your opponents a reason not to attack you. And if they have to pay to attack you, they're less likely to do it. And then Titan's Nest is just a fun card. I love the graphic. That's why it's in here. Don't judge. All right. I'm done with enchantments. You're done with enchantments. Let's move on over to instants. Instants, guys. Simple. Really simple. You're going to see that this all has the same thing. Destroying permanents, destroying permanents, destroying permanents. Bum, bum, bum. I'm maintaining control here. I'm maintaining control. Duh. Instant sorceries. Kill your opponent. Maintain control. That's all you're looking for with those. Your choice of the cards you want to put in there, but those are the ones that I like. Sorceries. Move on up. Same concept here. You're looking for lands. You want to get a lot of lands out. You're very expensive cards. You have to still play the creature spell, then play the mutate spell. So it's a lot of tapping. So make sure you find things that help you look for cards like Amethyst's Awakening, Cultivate. You want to get lands out. And then, of course, control. What? Look. Oh, my gosh. And look at this card. Deadly Templist is fun because you'll have one creature because you're mutating all the time, and your opponent might have like 1,000. So if you're playing a dwarf deck or an elf deck, this is going to really piss them off. So this card's fun. And then everything else, it's just like I said, trying to get creatures out for cheap because you do have very expensive creature cards in here. And then just maintaining control and getting lands out. That's the whole point of all of these cards. Vivian's Invocation, by the way, is awesome. Highly recommend. Highly, highly. It's expensive, but risky for the biscuit, as they say in the industry. All right. Let's break down to artifacts. This is the one part I'm going to disappoint myself. I need more mana rocks. I think I could get rid of some creatures on this and put more mana rocks in. Like I said, it's kind of a spot I need to work on. I want to know your opinion. I only got a couple. So something I probably should change with this going forward is adding more mana rocks so I have more lands to work with and able to get all my creatures out. Now the most boring part, so we'll do it quick, is lands. With the lands, 3 colors. So a lot of multicolored. It's really simple, straightforward. The only things I really want to talk about on this is 1, Rogue's Passage. Like I said, you have one creature. If you can get it in and just straight attack them for a lot of damage, this is definitely worth adding in there. Rogue's Passage would be a must for a land in this deck. All right, guys. Without further ado, we are moving on into creatures. That's right. Creatures, creatures, creatures. Whew. A lot of mutates. So let's kind of break these down. We got 39 in here. I'm not going to go through every one, but we'll pick and choose, starting with Archipelagore. That's a really cool card. It's a great way to make, it has a mutate cost. You need, let me just start with this. All right. So Ikoria is where mutate really comes in heavy, and there's not many good ones. So you have to kind of go a little off and get the more expensive ones. But you need a lot of mutate because that kind of goes off a Trimmy's ability, which is whenever it deals combat damage, return target creature with mutate from your graveyard to your hand. So you get to play them multiple times. So just keep that in mind. You're going to have to kind of take a hit with some of these mutate cards because there's not many of them. So that's always fun. All right, draw mechanics. Hence Beast Whisperer in here. Boneyard Lurker is another one with mutate. Great card. Brawn, I think this is a must with any green. Gives you trample as a static ability as long as it is in your graveyard. So just try to get rid of it yourself, put it in your graveyard, and then you have trample with all your big, strong creatures. Trading Harvest, great one for mutating because you're constantly mutate. And don't forget, if I mutate a card and it goes on top of one, that counts as 1 mutate. I can mutate again, and now I have 3 creatures. Now that counts as another mutate, and all the mutate abilities trigger again. So I can constantly trigger this if he's on the field because I'm constantly mutating that same creature spell. Even though it's 1 creature, I can mutate it multiple amount of times, as many as I want, to constantly target every single one's mutate ability. So please keep that in mind when you are building these decks. And if, like I said, if you guys have any questions, because we are doing this live, please let me know in the comments. We are talking about Atrimi, the Ever Playful, here on Magic Redefined, and we are breaking down creatures. Let's kind of take a little walk on through. Now, there's not many mutate spells, but like I was saying, you want things that have great static abilities. Even though they're weak, they're going to mutate on the bottom. Hence this card, Island Walk. Think about this. You have Island Walk. You can just walk on through. You get Island Walk, Forest Walk, Swamp Walk, and it's a free attack. So something to keep in mind when you're building a card like this, and you get to draw cards. So you need to constantly have the draw mechanics. I love this card. All right. So look how many abilities this card gives you. It's awesome. And it's so cheap. So you're having all these static abilities and triggered abilities that you get for free. This isn't your power card. This is still another bottom card. Balance. Life comes in balance. Elder Gargoth. This is your top card. Oh, it could be both. Look, Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. And then look at that triggered ability. You get all of that on top of it. It doesn't mutate, which kind of stinks, but how powerful this card is, I don't know why you wouldn't add this in here. All right, Garruk's Harbinger. Hexproof and Black. That's not bad. Look at that secondary ability. You get to reveal creature cards and kind of put them in your hand. I like it. I'm always a big fan of drawing. Gem Razor, probably one of the best mutate cards in here. The mutate spell is cheaper, and you get to destroy and maintain control. This is all about maintaining control, guys. You don't want your opponent blowing up. You're going to get creamed with the mutate deck. So make sure there's not many creatures on the board. Make sure there's not many artifacts and enchantments. It is all about your one creature. Maintain control. I can't emphasize that enough. All right, I'm going to kind of skim through some of these, get down to some of my favorites. I mean, this is fun. You get to constantly bring this back from your graveyard. Now, look, Havoc Demon, I'm doing this for its triggered ability because you're going to have a strong, powerful creature. You get flying, and then, of course, when it dies, you get the board wipe. So having a nice board wipe, like giving all creatures -5/-5, makes it more likely, especially in a multiplayer game, that no one wants to kill your one creature because then all of theirs die. So this is like a little safety net for you. That's why I like that card. All right. Hero's Bane, of course, you get the mutate, you get the counters on top of it, whatever. Hydra Omnivore. You're playing multiplayer. You're not playing this deck a one-on-one. Remember that. In Commander, this is not a one-on-one deck. This is multiplayer. So you're going to read that. You get to attack one person, and let's say one person's playing blue. So you have Island Walk. You're walking right on through them. You can attack everyone for free. So that's awesome. This card is just fun. It's the only reason I have it. Line of Whirls, yet again, great card if you're playing any sort of green mechanic to add forest. Master Myers, same kind of thing. You're trying to get spells out for cheap. They're very expensive. You have very high mana curve. This one, look at this one. Can't be blocked. That's all I'm saying about it. Add it. All right, I'm going to skim through these. These are just fun. Nizhel Primal Tide, I think, is another must. Great draw mechanic, great static abilities, and really, really strong. You're going to have a lot of lands in this deck, so having a card like this, I think, is a must, especially because you can discard 3 cards and flash it in and out. So you can do this if a board wipe comes in. I think you only get Nizhel back. I don't think you get the other cards at the top of the mutate. So something to think in mind when playing this to save yourself from board wiping. Night Veil Predator is a must. You get, like I said, you're not going for its power. You're going for its static abilities on this one. So this is a bottom card, flying, death touch, hexproof. You're making it very hard to kill your creature. You now have flying, so you can protect in the air, and then death touch, no one wants to touch you. So important to think about when you're playing. And then if you can get first strike, the best static abilities to add, just so you know, death touch, first strike, trample. Because trample says lethal damage, and lethal damage with death touch is 1. So regardless of the power of the other creature, with first strike, you can deal 1 damage to it, and the rest can trample through. Keep that in mind when playing. You want to try to get death touch, trample, and first strike all together. First strike, unfortunately, doesn't come too much with these colors. Try to find something, make it work, but you guys will figure it out. I'm not worried about it. Predators, indestructible, and when it attacks, you get more counters. That's pretty much given. If you make a creature indestructible, why not? Rocks, when it deals combat shows, though weren't blocked. Yet again, free damage coming through. Of course, another mutate one. So we're going to skim through here. Scavenging Ooze, just for, of course, its triggered ability there. Silent Arbor. Okay, so this is an interesting card. No more than one creature can attack each combat. No more than one creature can block each combat. Anthony, why is this card in there? Do you guys know? Anyone guess why this is in there? Think about what I said. So you're going to have one creature. One. Not 6, not 7. You want to make sure that you're saved when you attack with your one creature, because most people have more than one. You're going to have control. If everyone has 50 creatures and you have one, this kind of makes it so you're the only one who can attack. They can only block with one. They can't double block you. You'll have the strongest. This is a must in this deck. Add this card. Silent Arbiter. Go add it if you have a mutate deck or just a deck focusing on one creature right now. I'll wait. Awesome. Sisters of Stone Death, another great card to have just based upon its abilities. Target creature blocks if able, so you have Death Touch and you have very strong creatures. Awesome. Exile target creature blocking or blocked by it, or put target creature exiled with on the battlefield under your control. Look at those abilities, and it's a 7/5. I think that's a must. It is expensive, but whatever. This card's just for its mutate abilities. Tidal Barracuda, any player may cast spells loaded at flash. Your opponent can't cast spells during your turn. Why is this important? You're playing creatures. You don't have many counter spells. What's your opponent going to try to do? Counter, 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 counter. You don't want your creature spells that you're spending all this mana on to be countered. So don't let them counter your stuff. Prevent it. This is a great way to prevent it. Right here. All right. Tombbound Lynch. I go this for its static, Death Touch, and Lifelink. Those are great static abilities to have. Yet again, this is a bottom card. All right. When this deals combat damage to play, we destroy, maintain control. What are we talking about? We're maintaining control. We're wiping the board. Violet Nightclad is another card for its static ability of Intimidate. Intimidate is great because it limits the amount of creatures that can block you. That's why I like that at 1. I might get rid of it at a Mana Rock, but that one's up to you guys. Vorapede, great card. 5/4, trampoline. Enough said. This card, Flash Flying, pay 1 life, return it to your hand. If you mutate cards about to be destroyed, you can return it all to your hand with this card. This is why I like this. It prevents you from all those cards that you now just played from being instantly destroyed. Yamiva Dired. All right, I definitely said that wrong. Forest Walk. You had Island Walk, you had Forest Walk, you have 2 of the 5 colors down, and you may search for a forest and put it onto the field. So this is another great card. All right, guys. So that's really all I have with the commander. I'm going to go right back to it. I'm going to get him up there. This is who we are talking about. Atrimi, the Ever Playful. I like this card coming from the Command Zone. All right, little notes about Command Zone, because that reminds me. Mutate also gets command taxed. So just think of that when you're playing this card. You're most likely always going to mutate it because it's cheaper, but it will get command taxed if it dies, and you can put it right back in your Command Zone. Just kind of think about that when you're building this deck around it. We are going to hop on in here, remove this. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Commander Fridays. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you're watching this on Twitch. We'd really appreciate it. We put a lot of work into this, so it is important to me that you guys like what we're talking about, that you learned something. So please let me know. If you want me to pick a specific commander to talk about, happy to do it. And thank you for joining us on this week's episode. Until next time on Commander Fridays, let me know if you like this live episode. Let me know if you like the preloaded ones. Anthony out, guys.